The most senior Iranian military leader with an unparalleled sphere of influence throughout the Middle East has been killed in a US drone strike in Iraq.
We have this tremendous military, and you know what that is? That's really a great fighting force, but I hope we never have to use it. I really do. You saw an example of that a couple of days ago. So we seek friends, not enemies, but if you dare to threaten our citizens, you do so at your own grave peril.
Now, we know from the Pentagon that this attack began about 3 hours ago. It involved more than a dozen missiles being fired from inside Iran, targeting those air bases in Iraq.
We begin with the breaking news of a Ukrainian passenger jet plane has crashed shortly after takeoff from Tehran, killing at least 170 passengers and crew.
Iran had previously rejected claims it shot down Ukraine International Airlines flight PS752 on Wednesday. Now, Iran says it was behind the crash and blamed human error.
This is the line of actual control, high in the Himalayas between India and China. It is a disputed demarcated border between two of the most populous nations in the world, both armed with nuclear weapons. On June 15th, tensions along the border turned violent for the first time in half a century. India says at least 20 of its soldiers were killed after hand-to-hand fighting with Chinese troops in the Galwan Valley. China has not released any information on casualties.
The ring of fire around Sydney is as angry and as frightening as we've seen.
Way out of here, guys, because the whole place is on fire. Oh my god, my neighbour's house.
I've got to admit, I've never cried so much in my life.
Sea levels have risen at an alarming rate. Biodiversity is reportedly declining faster than that of any time in human history. And millions of people have been affected by extreme weather like hurricanes and floods.
This year, the most notorious species, desert locusts, set off a global panic.
One of the most important things we can do is recognize that climate change isn't about the planet. We now know it's about people.
Many of us awoke to news that an active shooter was on the loose in a rural part of the province. The gunman is now dead, but over the course of almost 13 hours, he left multiple victims.
The governor says it was a suicide attack.
Jesus!
And the Oscar goes to Parasite.
Express my deepest gratitude and respect for all the members of the Academy for making this decision.
A rift in the royal family not seen for a generation. Issuing what amounts to a Declaration of Independence. At Christmas, in the Queen's speech, there was no picture of Harry and Meghan beside her.
Further confirmation, the outbreak of a new viral pneumonia in China is on the move.
First of all, we now have a name for the disease. The World Health Organization now says there are more new cases of the coronavirus outside China than inside that country. There are cases in every continent except Antarctica now. With attention shifting from Asia to Europe, countries there are struggling to come up with a unified response. And with so many unknowns, there's confusion about whether to travel and what to avoid. In the U.S., President Trump just addressed the American response to the virus. He's blamed the media for making it look as bad as possible. Today, he said he doesn't think the spread of the virus is inevitable.
Italian hospitals are at their absolute limit, with hundreds more deaths reported daily and huge challenges in caring for those infected.
Let's keep praying for the sick people.
We have therefore made the assessment that COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
Now, within the last few minutes, the French President Emmanuel Macron has announced that France and most European Union partners will close their borders to non-European countries for 30 days from tomorrow at noon.
Security was stepped up at the frontier between France and Spain. Many residents in European border towns are used to crossing from one country to another several times a day, but not anymore.
Italians are notoriously not the world's best cures, but the virus has changed that. The epidemic appears to be spreading at its fastest rate. In Madrid last night, the army was enforcing a lockdown.
A drastic protest designed to grab the attention of lawmakers.
We will be suspending all travel from Europe.
As a sell-off that began in reaction to coronavirus fears takes on a new dimension, European indexes plunging at the open, London's FTSE 100.
Goldman Sachs predicting that the biggest companies in the U.S. may not grow at all this year because of the coronavirus.
Coronavirus is the biggest threat this country has faced for decades.
The president announced he is temporarily cutting all U.S. funding to the World Health Organization.
It was the world's largest coronavirus directive. The scenes that unfolded afterwards were unprecedented. Scores of people turned up at shops to get essentials, and people by the thousands were rushing to get home to their villages.
Eurovision Song Contest 2020 has finally and officially been cancelled.
I was saving my lives for the actual contest.
The 2020 Summer Olympics, now the latest major sports cancellation caused by the global COVID-19 pandemic.
Paris has seen a second night of rioting over calls French police have been too heavy-handed in the treatment of ethnic minorities during the coronavirus lockdown.
Has been attacked and decapitated in a suburb very near to Paris, according to sources.
One of our fellow citizens was murdered today because he was a teacher, because he was teaching students freedom of expression.
Thousands gathered in central Paris to pay their respects to Samuel Paty.
Angry and on the streets, protesters in Turkey and across the Arab world demanding the French president stop what they see as his attacks on Islam. And a boycott too, with French goods being taken off shelves amid a growing social media campaign.
History was made at the White House today. Israel, the UAE and Bahrain together at a signing ceremony celebrating the Abraham Accords, the deal normalizing relations between the countries.
الإمارات دولة عربية متفقة مع إسرائيل في اتفاقية سلام. ما لازم يكون اتفاقية سلام.
I'll come back to you when I have the final answer.
I'm pleased to announce a truly historic commitment. Serbia and Kosovo have each committed to economic normalization.
At 11:15 a.m. this morning, here in the UN headquarters in Geneva, the two Libyan delegations to the 5+5 Joint Military Commission talks signed a complete countrywide and permanent ceasefire agreement.
Tens of thousands of protesters in Belarus have taken to the streets of Minsk and other cities for a second Sunday in a row. They're demanding President Alexander Lukashenko's resignation, accusing him of rigging elections 2 weeks ago.
Lukashenko has ruled Belarus with an iron fist since 1994, a power-hungry leader who has contempt for his own people. 3 women are leading the opposition, among them Svetlana Tikhanovskaya, who many consider the real winner of the election on August the 9th.
What do you want? I can breathe. Please, the name of it. I can breathe.
In cities everywhere, people joined in. In Paris, they marched, as they did in Rome and Tokyo. In Hungary, a silent crowd took a knee for 8 minutes and 46 seconds, the time Officer Chauvin had his knee on George Floyd's neck. COVID-19 kept Thai protesters off the streets, but on screen in a massive Zoom session. But in Brazil, which has one of the worst coronavirus outbreaks in the world, demonstrators came out anyway, in solidarity with what has become a worldwide movement. Watch out!
Protesters last night turned into criminals, and I'm absolutely disgusted.
They faced the child!
It's counterproductive. It's counterproductive to what we're trying to achieve. And we're trying to achieve some safety for me. Some safety for me.
We were really like, what do we do? What are we going to do with these documents?
Records that were just revealed show that for years, banks around the world have helped divert and conceal criminal funds.
We've obtained for the first time internal U.S. Treasury documents that have been created by banks and shared with the U.S. government. In them, you find that banks are tracking money launderers, terrorism financiers, narco traffickers, numerous accounts all over the world.
Some influential politicians.
Disgraced movie mogul Harvey Weinstein is spending his first night in custody out.
Harvey Weinstein has finally been held accountable for crimes he committed.
His trial seen as a watershed moment for the Me Too movement.
A woman accused of procuring underage girls for the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein has herself now been arrested by the FBI.
Well, we definitely received substantial evidence that he was involved in trafficking young women and children to the Virgin Islands for a very long period of time.
And we have breaking news from Twitter. The company is dealing with a major hack that targeted several high-profile accounts.
The mastermind lives here in Tampa, committed the crimes here.
It began between the Hindu majority and Muslim minority over the controversial Citizens Law.
about this taking time. Americans have made their choice. Joe Biden will be the next president of the United States.
It's one of the great days in American history.
Costa Rica became the first country in Central America and the sixth country in Latin America to allow same-sex marriage. Pizza Rea Agreras and Alexandra Quiros Castillo on Tuesday became the first same-sex couple to get married in Costa Rica.
Researchers in Kenya discovered a microbe that can completely prevent mosquitoes from carrying malaria.
Tonight, Africa is declared free of wild polio.
March 1st, all public transit in the entire country will be free.
Deep within the acid clouds above Venus, astronomers have detected something new, a gas that could be a sign of life. The gas is phosphine, a toxic molecule with an odor of garlic and dead fish.
I was just stunned. I mean, I did this as an interesting experiment. I'd never really thought about detecting it.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west.
Diego Maradona, one of the greatest footballers of all time, who has died today, age 60.
Tonight, an 11-day period of mourning is underway for Kim Jong-il, the dictator who died Saturday.
After weeks of speculation concerning his health, North Korea's elusive leader Kim Jong-un has resurfaced.
Technology kills viruses in just 1 minute. Dad! Holy crap!
Fill out, and when you do that...
Were you just in the bathroom?
What are you doing?
No. What are you doing? Were you just in the bathroom?
The country's biggest age demographic, millennials, are having children at a lower rate than previous generations.
What is it? It's so good!
Millennials. It tastes like millennials.
Celebrities are losing their f***ing minds in quarantine.
Millie Bobby Brown also loved this song and pulled off the dance effortlessly. During this time of global lockdown, friends can still get together, like Vanessa Hudgens and Ashley Tisdale. The girls made a video lip-syncing along to We're All in This Together from High School Musical. Many other performers have joined TikTok and are now practicing their dance moves, like Justin and Hailey Bieber.
Oh! Richard Blush is waving a hammer up high!
I've been wondering, why is there not a news show dedicated entirely to good news? I reached out to all of you this week, asking, nay begging, for some good news. And boy, did you deliver.
Let's kick it off with some good news.
Live from New York and Los Angeles, it's Late Night Alone or at home.
Spider 2. No, don't scare me. I'm scared of spider.
Daniel, I know I can't hear you yet, but I sense that you can hear me.
It's fun booking people. Everybody's at home.
So, like,
Did you see that Imagine song that all those knuckleheads got together and sang?
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try.
Hi, my name is Chris. Is this on?
We are coming to you live from our warehouse, actually.
Oh, you're a sky full of stars. And you're the right way.
I wanna live when the rain is blowing in. I pray you'll be alright. I'm just a mirror. Hey now, don't dream it's over. Daily races going nowhere.
What's in the way will you see?
At this heart.